Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you see this. This is Dee with INFP-A Assertive Insights, and today I'm going to debunk some myths about why INFP 4w5s seek to be alone or are perceived to be loners by the MBTI community, and also with other INFPs who are not 4w5. I am a 4w5. So I will tell you what has come to my mind that just came the other week. Said, well, I'm a 4w5 because I love to be alone, and we're supposed to be the most loner of all the Enneagram combinations. So with that said, just stay with me. I have 4. I'm sure there are more than that if you see more. And you are 4w5. I like to hear from the 4w5s. Don't have to be an INFP, but INFP 4w5s, because everything else is just assumption. If you haven't lived it, you don't know exactly how it is to be unless you've experienced it. I've learned that in my older age and in my growth, personal growth. You can empathize with people. You can think, you can feel what they feel, but unless you have really experienced it, you don't know. It is different. I mean, just with everything. So here we go. I do have a list. Again, excuse the cough. I'm back to socks. Yes. So number 1 is this is debunking the myth that we'd like to be loners, that we intentionally want to be the number 1 outlier, the number 1 unique person. I don't think we give it that much thought in that respect. But number 1 is, generally speaking, is that we do enjoy our alone time. We are able to enjoy our alone time probably more than anyone else. We probably have the most creative minds. Not to say it's any better, just most creative, more things going on that we can think of, more projects started and not finished, things we'd love to do. Time passes actually faster than what our minds can keep up with. So I know for myself, I can just be piddling around the house, just doing some house cleaning or straightening up. The next thing I know, the day's gone. And days, sometimes if I'm working on a project, days turn into weeks, weeks can turn into months, and I don't have contact with the outside world because our minds and our projects and what we think up to do invigorate us. We get invigorated that way. So I used to, honestly, I will tell you, I used to put on my calendar the days that I socialized or actually just spoke to somebody, whether it was a clerk in the store, self-checkout. Self-checkout, I'm going to speak to somebody. But I have had at one point in time to consciously know that I'm talking to someone else because I'm going about my day and world. So we don't really consciously say, well, I want to be alone, I want to be a loner, I want to be the most unique person in the world, so I'm not going to associate with the world. No, we just get involved with ourselves. Our projects. Whether they ever come to fruition or not, we have a lot of projects. INFPs in general do, but the 4w5, we are supposed to be the bohemians. We're the adventurers. We travel, whether we're traveling physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. We're always traveling. We're always on an adventure. So that's number 1, is that we get lost more so than the other people in our adventures, projects, and it may just be mental, and then we're not aware that we are alone. That alone. Second thing, number 2, society, I think, equates independence with wanting to isolate yourself. Now here's something that I want everybody out there who's watching to pay close attention to, closer than what I said number one, is that I do believe, this is my theory, is that our society equates someone who is independent, because I've heard this a million times, with you want to isolate yourself. Oh, well, you're independent. I think we live in a codependent world. I know here in the States we do. Don't know how it is in the whole world. I haven't traveled overseas since the 70s. But I know here in the States we're brought up. Everything's institutionalized. Everything, if you stop and think about it, is based on codependency. Gen Zers want free college education. We want free health care. That's the type of codependency. That is not being totally independent. So we're weaned on codependency. We're brought up to, it's normalized. It's normalized, I think, mainly in the industrialized world. Codependency is normalized. We don't have farm land. Everybody's buying up property. Where I'm living, there's hardly a tree. They cut down everything, then they plant a tree. That's the most ridiculous thing in the world. They bulldoze thousands of acres and put up a $1 million house project, and then they put in a greenway. There was already a greenway before you cut the trees down. But very few people grow their own foods or are self-sufficient. You can't do that because we're codependent. So that having been said, when we find someone who likes to be independent, people in society, I think, I'm a firm believer of it because I get asked this all the time, that we like to be alone. No, and people ask me, well, you're really independent, aren't you? And I said, no, I am. I consider myself interdependent. I know how to be independent. I know how to live alone. But at the same time, I want people in my life. Other people in my life are the cherry on the sundae, the cherry on the topping on frosting on the cake, whatever you want to say. That is true in psychology. Psychology will tell you, don't look to the outside. Now, I've heard other creators say that the 4w5 looks to the outside. I don't think that's true to the point where we excuse me, I don't even have any water. I don't know why I'm getting so dry. We do look for connections that we don't have, and we are seekers. But at the same time, we're not at the expense of other people. I think other people, which will bring up number 3, is that we get left out. We get left out. How many times? Just be cognizant of that fact. If you're not a INFP 4w5, and say, oh, they're independent, they're not going to want to go, I'm not going to ask them, I'm going to exclude them. I have been excluded for more daggone things. And yes, I'm a little frustrated. I don't feel well today. I'm a little frustrated because I'm having to start over again. We do get tired of starting over. I'm in my 70s. Most of you are in your 20s, 30s, maybe a couple of you 40s, whatever. But the majority of you are half my age or more, 75%, 20, whatever. I don't do math. 25% of my age. And I can tell you that, yeah, we get left out. I get tired of starting over. I say in my other videos, I tell people, yeah, right, I don't have friends. Right now I don't, and there's a reason for that, and I'll get into it in a minute. It's by choice right now. But we do get left out. I'll give you an example, is that where I live in an apartment complex, a senior apartment complex. They don't want to go anywhere or do anything. They except complain about how many surgeries they have or how much things cost, and there's no positivity, which can be depressing. But I know last summer I tried to get a group together to go and do something like for a little day trip, and I would be willing to organize it, and we could get a bus if you want to rent a bus and you don't want to drive, and we'll rent a bus and we'll go somewhere for a day trip to get away. Well, nobody wanted to go. About a month or so later, a group who I thought, a very small group of 2 or 3 people, who I thought were friends of mine, who I thought I was making friends for this year, and I was doing well again, starting over. I found out through the grapevine, because they would not tell me. They have yet to tell me. They've been gone like several months. They went on a day trip. They went on a day trip at my suggestion. But I was not invited. Not only was I not invited, they won't speak to me about it. They did not tell me about it. I found out from several other people that they went. I no longer speak to them. I don't have any use for that. I'm starting over. So yeah, we are not included because of the fact, one of the reasons is that we're perceived as independent. People are perceived as not needing anybody, not wanting to be around anybody. That is not true. We are not trying to be an outlier. We're not trying to be the most unique person in the whole world. If I was the most unique person in the world, what would I would, I don't know, I've thought about some things which are not positive, but, you know, to make national, international headlines, I think those kind of people are, I'm not saying the INFP 4w5s who want to be, or anybody who wants to be is, but like your mass murderers and people like that, now they make an impact. They are way outliers and way, you know, the manifestos and things like that. We don't seek to be that. I think that is a myth. We're getting left behind. So when you see somebody like that, include them. If they choose not to go, that's fine. That's their choice. Give them the option. It's like a therapist I had year before last, about some relationship thing. I was not given, she said, you were not given a choice in this matter. And I said, yeah, I never thought about that, but that is correct. I was not given a choice. Decision was made for me to just totally exclude me. It's like with my so-called neighbor/friends. They did not give me the choice to say whether I wanted to go with them or not go with them on their day trip. They just totally excluded me. Oh, and not even mention it to me and hide it from me. And I know it's been hidden from me because they have been very aloof, and like I said, we're not speaking right now. So yeah, so keep that in mind. It's self-imposed from the external world, and I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it, that other INFPs and other Enneagram types fit into that too. Everybody fits into that. And yes, we have to, on our end, I'm not blaming, it's not a blaming thing, it's your fault, not my fault. It's just something to think about and be cognizant of. Give us a choice to say, if we want to go, include us. We want to be included. We want to be not only included, but really thought of as part of the community. Yes, we are all. Everybody is seeking to fit in. And then yes, it is harder for us to fit in. And yes, we've had to be independent. It's been thrown at us. And in one video I saw, say it came from maybe childhood trauma or whatever. That could be. Could be, could not be. Could be just regular everyday living. I think it's a cop-out to just really be that easy. It's more complicated than that. So that's it, that society in general is codependent, and we are independent for whatever reason. Not going to get into that. No, I'm not Freud, and I don't believe in Freud. Not going to get into all that from the womb on. But it's not the mother's fault, not the whatever. I'm not going to get into blaming. We are independent for whatever reason, but that doesn't mean we don't need people. Doesn't mean we don't want to be around people. Give us that choice. Include us. See if we want to be included. Okay? The next thing that may come up is that we may have, has piggyback in the fourth one, piggyback into what I was talking about, the third one not being included, is that for me specifically, I was a social person. Nobody I know believes that I'm an introvert. They always think I'm an extrovert because I like to go. I like to be around people. Um, right now, my life has changed 180 degrees. Some of you know this, and those of you who are new, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Um, know that 3 years ago, early on, I got COVID. And back then, there was no treatment, there was no vaccine. What you did, you just stayed in your home alone, isolated for 2 weeks, and then you could go about your business. There was no testing, there was no nothing, but it was a very dangerous time. It's when people were all in body bags, if you remember, in freezers. Um, I got COVID. Fortunately, it was a mild case, but what happened was it left me, now I know after millions of, feels like millions of specialists, which it hasn't been. It's been a half a dozen, but it's a full-time job. I have been left with chronic fatigue syndrome. And a lot of people don't believe in it. A lot of people say, yeah, but I get tired too. It has changed my whole life. Before I got COVID, I had 2 part-time jobs. I was a traveler, cross-country traveler, train traveler. I've got a travel channel on YouTube. I was go, 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 go. You say, well, I can't be an INFP if I go a lot. Yes, some of us do. I love being around people. I do love being around people. I do have to recharge. I do like my alone time. But now, since I got COVID, and for other health reasons, I cannot get vaccinated for COVID, and nobody will give me a vaccination for that or anything else. Flu, RSV, pneumonia, nothing. I am in a very high risk category, being my age. Even though I'm physically fit, there is nothing physically wrong with me. I do have a little high blood pressure, but there's nothing physically wrong with me. But I will not get over it. I'm doing better. So I have self-isolated. I will say that for the past couple of years, I have self-isolated in order to heal, because I do want to be well so I can go. I went from hiking 4 miles a day to getting COVID, and then right after COVID, I couldn't walk across the room. I've had to learn to walk again. I've had to learn to drive a car again. A lot of things I've had to learn to do all over again. I still can't go very far in my car. I can walk a mile in one day, but not all at one time. I am considered handicapped. So I have had to go from being an athletic kind of person. I take my health very seriously, a sociable type person, to 180 degrees of the best thing I have to do is stay away from people as much as possible. Groups, I can't participate in anything group. They do have parties here at the apartment complex. There's one this weekend. Not being able to go. I still wear a mask. So what happens when you tell people that they don't know how to react? So, and also it's autoimmune disorder, so I've got to be very careful. I don't choose to have this or anything else again. I don't choose to be in the hospital. I choose to live a full life, so the best way I can. So what we've learned, we as in, I'm a member of, I do have networks in chronic illnesses, and how to get over chronic illnesses, how to get over chronic fatigue, work through it. I'm in groups online, that type thing. And just hearing, because the doctors don't know what to do, and they don't believe it anyway most of the time, but they don't know what to do, is take a functional or integrative or functional aspect toward it, which medicine does not do. They treat this as individual symptoms, and that doesn't work. So I have spent, my full-time job is working on getting healthy, healthier. I can walk up and down 4 flights of steps again. Yay, I did that this morning. I'm on a special diet that my GI doctor gave me. I'm on this because this doctor gave me, but I'm integrating it Around here where I live, there is a functional medicine doctor. And functional medicine means that you get to the heart and the root of what the cause is. But insurance does not cover it here, and it's very expensive. So what we've found, we as in other people in my groups, we have found that it all relates, and it's on YouTube too, some enlightened, I'll say, medical professionals have realized that this is a nervous system problem. You have to retrain your nervous system because all your other functions revolve around that. That is the root. And so I can see where I overworked my nervous system my whole life from various stressors, flight or fight syndrome, that type thing. All of that put together. So I'm healing my nervous system. Long story short, this is a whole lot longer than I wanted it to be. I know a lot of people have clicked off. But the nervous system, I'm healing my nervous system, so right now I am self-isolating. That's how I can do it. And as my nervous system can handle the stressors of life, just sounds. I mean, I have a note on my door not to ring my doorbell. The doorbell will set my nervous system off. A dog barking outside sets my nervous system off. So I cannot be around other people. So think of that too. That maybe we want to be around folks. Right now, I'm doing Zoom. I can be around people. It does tire me, but I can do Zoom. I can do email. I do emails better because I can do it when I feel like it. I don't get the immediate reaction or interaction. But I'm slowly working my way back into integrating myself into socialization, into society. So yes, I'm an INFP 4w5, but I am not meant by DNA or otherwise or whatever to be isolated. I do not like to be isolated. It is depressing to me, especially around the holidays. I bought a ton of, for Christmas holidays. I hate Christmas, but I decided I would love it this year, so I can't cook. So a lot of things I had to eat when I was growing up, I ordered online. And I spent quite a bit of money ordering all the candies and cookies and fruit. I love fruit cake. Never met a fruit cake I don't like. Several kinds of fruit cakes to get it here in the house so that I can celebrate and start some normalcy in my life. So 2024, that's my goal, is to try once again to have friends. Like I said, they've all, in the past, they've all left. They've all either left or I found out that they weren't in my best interest, and I don't want to be around anything that's not in my best interest because it does upset your nervous system. It puts added stress on you that you don't really need. So yeah, I just want to bring those out. I got kind of passionate. I wasn't angry earlier, but I do get passionate about certain things. And this is one of them. One of my biggest passions is, I think, are things, triggers. We got triggers, you can call it passion or whatever, is when people speak or assume and they don't live in my shoes. I'm learning to not assume things about other people. And something that I'm learning, we're growing into something that I am learning, not to assume that I know how other people are living their life just because I've been through something similar. You don't know what it's like until you've been there. Really and truly. So try to include the INFP 4w5s. Don't assume that they're all being themselves because they want to be totally. I do not want to be totally unique. I want to fit in. We are seekers. We're trying to find a community. We run up against brick walls all the time. More so than the average person. And it hurts even more, I'll just come out and say, because I don't know how long I'm going to be around anyway. It hurts for other INFPs to say that, and I've heard them say that. It is kind of hurting and biting. You're like, well, I don't fit in here either. And I'm trying to retrain my brain to say, well, maybe they didn't mean it that way. You can't. We're idealists. INFPs are idealists. So, yeah, I'm rambling. Now I'm turning into a pity party. Now I'm turning into an INFP-T. my pity party is starting, so I'll cut this off. But yeah, just include us and don't assume how we are. We do want to find community. Yeah, we want all the things other people want in life. We don't want to, yeah. So if you are an INFP 4w5 and you are totally alone, you're not. There are other people there searching just like you. Maybe I'll start a support group for that. The regular INFPs didn't work, but they weren't 4w5s mostly. But anyway, I've talked too much. I did want to, this was something I was going to talk about anyway, and then I was going to talk about it anyway, and then it came up in a conversation the other week about being independent, and then I was just flipping through. Today I was just flipping through the YouTube recommended channels, and one popped up again of this is why INFP 4w5s are the way they are. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to listen to it. It was not by a 4w5, an INFP 4w5, but I'll listen to it. And I said I've got to do that today because it was their way of thinking, and I do respect their way of thinking, but I think it's incorrect from my perch, from my experience. So anyway, yeah, let's see if we can get this to 30 minutes and throw this totally off. You've clicked off 23 minutes ago. I do appreciate those that watch to the very end and listen to the very end. And if it does well, it's going to be on the podcast for you to download. You can listen to it a bit at the time. You can watch this a bit at the time. I do appreciate you a whole lot. If it, I don't know where I'd be without this channel. I really don't. So that being said, until next time, everybody stay safe.